Good day, students. You are welcome once again to Scholars Universal School Online. This is chemistry, and in this chemistry class, we have been dealing with carbon and its compound. So today, we are going to deal with carbon and its compound part 2. And under carbon and its compound part 2, we'll be talking about amorphous of carbon and their uses. Remember that we talked about the allotrope of carbon and that we have two major crystalline allotrope of carbon, which are diamond and graphite. And we have non-crystalline allotrope of carbon, and that the non-crystalline allotrope of carbon are called amorphous carbon. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, take a look at this. Although carbon, except diamond, can be hardly differentiated, so it is only by subjecting them to certain conditions that you now know that, okay, this is this and this is that. When you look at this, these are some amorphous of carbon. So we have some charcoal here, we have coal, coke, we have them here. So let us take a look. So this structure, you see that this structure is not as regular as that of graphite or diamond. In fact, you can hardly establish the shape of this amorphous carbon. So this is how a typical amorphous carbon appear under X-ray. So the amorphous of carbon consists of a minute crystal of graphite, and they are bound together by impurities. So they are not true allotrope of carbon anyway. That's why we say that they are non-crystalline allotrope of carbon. So except except amorphous like coal, which is mined from natural deposit, other amorphous are prepared in various ways. That means amorphous can be prepared, but usually coal can be mined. But all other amorphous are always prepared. For example, amorphous like soot, like lamp black, like charcoal, they can actually be produced. But coal cannot be produced like that, so it is always mined from the ground. So recall the structure, that this is for diamond, this is for graphite, and this is for typical amorphous carbon. Then we can have it this way. This is diamond. Here, this one is graphite. You can see the hexagonal structure. This is the graphite and this is the diamond here. Now we can see the amorphous carbon, the coal, that which you call coal here. Can you see this coal? So you have coal here, and then you have some amorphous here, which is the particle, which is like, in fact, more of charcoal. Um, let's now talk about coal. It is believed that coal was formed from the vegetation of what we call Carboniferous era, and then the Carboniferous era, that means the era in which the vegetation was completely protected from being decayed. That's from being the era at which the vegetation was protected from complete decay by some overlaying water that wash the earth, that actually wash the earth. So anyway, we are not really having any concern with the what's it called, how coal is formed, but we only need to know how we get it, which is mined, and how it's being used. So we have different form of coal. We have the pit coal, that is PEAT, and then we have the lignite, which is popularly called brown coal, and then we have the bituminous coal, which is soft coal, and then we have the anthracite, which is hard coal. So we have the pit, the lignite, the bituminous, and the anthracite coal. So those are the four forms of coal that are popularly known. So some impurities are always attached with coal when mined from underground. And these impurity are impurity like nitrogen, impurity like sulfur, and phosphorus. We can consider the uses of coal. Let's take a look at the uses of coal here. One, coal is used as a fuel for steam engine, factories, and electric plant. I'm sorry, yes, an electric plant. When we say steam engine, for example, some of the railway that was sorry, the train that are actually available in those days, and they are still available today, actually use steam engines. And this actually makes use of coal to heat the water and turn it to steam, which will drive the engine. So it is also used in some electric plants and in factory to also drive the process as fuel there. It is also used for making various chemicals. The other time we talked about the what is called the destructive distillation of coal, which is heating of coal in the absence of air in the presence of very high temperature and pressure. So when coal is heated this way, so various chemicals can be distilled or can be got from the coal. That's why we always say that coal is a mixture, because we can get the component of the mixture by destructive distillation of coal. So um let's now talk about the second amorphous, coke. Now, coke is a product of destructive distillation of coal. It's one of the major products of destructive distillation of coal. And then, just as we said, destructive distillation of coal is heating of coal in the absence of air, in the presence of very high temperature. And the coal which is always made use of in this process is bituminous coal. Remember that we have four types of coal, which are pit coal, lignite, anthracite, and bituminous coal. So bituminous coal is always used. And then when it is heated in the absence of air and under very high temperature, all the volatile constituents will be driven off from the coal. And then among those volatile constituents, so can be condensed back, and then we can get coke anyway, which is solid and can be used as fuel for industrial heating. Then coke is also used as a reducing agent in extraction of metal from the ore. Recall that we have two major ways of extracting iron from the ore. One is by electrolytic method. The highly reactive metals are always extracted by electrolytic method. Then those ones that are not very reactive are extracted by reduction, that's redox process, that's oxidation and reduction process. So in this process, for a substance such as iron is actually reduced using carbon or carbon oxide, carbon monoxide. Coke is also used in production of gaseous fuel such as water gas and producer gas. Note that water gas actually contains carbon dioxide and hydrogen, whereas producer gas contains carbon sorry, note that water gas contains carbon dioxide and hydrogen, whereas producer gas contains carbon dioxide and nitrogen. Coke is used for manufacture of graphite. Recall that in the Atchison process, the Atchison process, recall that graphite can be produced, artificial graphite can be produced there, and then we can make use of coke to do this. So let us take a look at other amorphous of carbon. Look at this amorphous. We have the animal charcoal here. The animal charcoal is got by burning animal bones. Then you can now, probably after burning, you can compress the charcoal to be like this. So this animal charcoal. Then we have the hot wood charcoal here. Can you see how it glows? So you have them. These are other form of amorphous. Then amorphous carbon and their uses continue by considering the carbon black, which is also always used in manufacture of tire and production of black shoe polish. Then carbon black is also used in production of printers ink. Um, in the category of this carbon black is the soot as well as the lamp black. So they are all used for the same purpose. They can be used in production of black shoe polish, and they can be used in manufacture of rubber tires as well as production of printers ink. That is black ink used in printing process. Then we have animal charcoal, which is also which is also a charcoal got by burning the bones of animal, and it is always used in sugar production industry to remove brown stains from crude sugar. You know, if you recall what we call molasses, Molasses, molasses. If you remember what we call molasses, which is raw sugar, which probably got from sugarcane and which could be stained brown. Now, all brownish stains and every other stain in that sugar can be removed by using animal charcoal. So it is also used in decolorizing petroleum jelly in cosmetic industries because it has very high absorbing property. Then we have wood charcoal, which is always used in gas mask to absorb poisonous gases and purification of noble gases. You recall that, please, if you remember this, I don't know if you have actually experienced this. If you go to your grandma and probably your grandma is about to prepare what we call moi moi or akara, and he has prepared the beans, grinded the beans, that's the soaked beans grinded. No, if it's not ready to do it that way at that time, the grandma will actually dip a charcoal in that beans. And if you ask her, she will tell you that it's to prevent it from being from spoiling. Of course, because the charcoal has very porous body which can absorb bacteria, and it will absorb the bacteria and prevent the grinded soaked beans from getting sour. So because of its high absorption properties. So it is used in nose mask in form of what we call activated charcoal. Activated charcoal is charcoal treated with steam. So the activated charcoal is also used in a nose mask to absorb poisonous gases and to purify noble gases. We have sugar charcoal. Sugar charcoal is always used as a reducing agent in extraction of metal. It's always used as a reducing agent in extraction of metal. That is sugar charcoal. And then note here that sugar charcoal is the purest amorphous of carbon. Or what you can say, sugar charcoal is the purest form of charcoal. And it can be formed by dehydrating sugar with concentrated tetrasulfoxylic acid. So with this, We have come to the end of the second section or the second part of carbon and its compound. So we have been able to consider the amorphous of carbon. We have been able to know the uses of amorphous of carbon, and we have been able to compare amorphous of carbon, which are non-crystalline allotrope of carbon, with the other crystalline allotropes such as diamond and graphite. So thank you for joining us at Scholars Universal School Online. Remember to fly high in your study and kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel. Remain blessed.